In today's video, I'm going to be sharing Martha Stewart's list of things you should always buy at the thrift store according to her design insiders. So if that sounds good to you, let's get into it. If you're new to my channel, my name is Susan McDonald, and I help people decorate and live stylishly by sourcing vintage and pre-owned home decor to make their home more beautiful. First on the list is lamps. I love finding lamps at the thrift store. I totally agree with this. I think the thrift stores are a great resource for lamps. Now, a lot of people tend to assume that there's something wrong with the lamp, it doesn't work. Most of the thrift stores that I shop at will have an electrical outlet either on the back wall with all their electrical electronics, appliances, whatever, or they'll have one up at the front desk. So you can usually find a light bulb, borrow a light bulb, whatever, to test the lamp to make sure that it turns on and off. If a lamp is really interesting looking, it could be a great find, and there might even be a way to repurpose or reconfigure your lamp and use it somehow in your decor. Thrift stores in those better to high-end neighborhoods are a great resource for your lamps. I love to find lamps in pairs, a very common way to decorate and place things and create balance in an entryway, on a sideboard. So lamps are a fantastic thing to pick up at the thrift store. Next up on the list is artwork. I love finding artwork at the thrift store. I totally agree with this on the list. And you can find original oil painting. I've seen time and time again on social media, Antiques Roadshow, people pick up something secondhand at a thrift store or a garage sale. Artwork, original artwork, people finding things that are worth thousands and thousands of dollars. I'm waiting for that to happen to me. So artwork, you can get signed lithographs. I have some signed lithographs in my booth right now. I've sold original watercolor paintings. I've sold original oil paintings, charcoal drawings. So look for things that are interesting. A frame is also something you want to take into consideration, is how well, is something really nicely matted? Is it a really nice frame? And that will be a way to tell if something is a nicer piece of art or, if it's in a really cheap plastic frame, probably not such a nice piece of art. Keep that in mind when you're sourcing your artwork out at the thrift store. Silver plate is really easy to find at the thrift store. I always see piles of it at the thrift store. A lot of people do not want to polish it, and I do understand that, but boy, I see so much fantastic inspiration on the internet with people repurposing trays and putting beautiful tall orchids on a tray with a few coffee table books, and they make it look so good. So maybe this polishing is something that we should all be taking into consideration, that it really makes a smashing, old money kind of look very Ralph Lauren. Pottery is something I also love to find at the thrift store. This is on the list. And I am amazed at how much artisan pottery I've been able to source from the thrift stores and either sell online or in my booth, or just adding some, an interesting element to my own decor. So there's lots of that out there. And there are even some pieces that I have picked up. It turns out it's worth like $200 and I paid $6 for it. So it's definitely out there. And there's lots of different styles and colors. So plenty to choose from, and hopefully you can find something that matches your decor. Mirrors is another one on the list, and I highly agree with this. I love to find mirrors at the thrift store. I can't imagine why someone would go to buy a brand new mirror, although I'm sure there's a reason for it, and if you have the money for it, that's fantastic. But I find plenty of fantastic mirrors for $13. My last great mirror was $40. That's in my booth right now. It's a beautiful beveled mirror. There's a wide variety of mirrors available in the thrift store, all kinds of sizes, all kinds of frames. So I think that is something that if someone's asking me like, gee, I really want to get some mirrors for my house, I tell them, go to the thrift store. That's where you're going to find your biggest variety and best prices. You can get mirrors in contemporary styling, traditional styling. It's also really fun, if that's your taste, to find something that's really has an antique vibe and might have that sort of blackened, weathered, kind of darkened mirror look. I think that's a great look. Next on the list is architectural details. And I'm very intrigued when I find these. I feel like I don't find them that often, but looking for something chunky and oversized that may have come off, a front porch, or, we're talking about things like corbels. Doorknobs would be another one. And sometimes you'll see people, they'll have like a bowl of like a small collection of doorknobs, maybe 6 or 7 doorknobs. And, it's a way to just sort of collect something and show it as as kind of an art piece, if you will, as opposed to it going to the dump and going to the landfill. If you can come up with a way to display it, make it look like something to be celebrated as opposed to something old and something you would just cast off. So again, corbels, doorknobs, these add character and detail to your home. And then it's always fun to find a way to display it, like I was saying, finding a tray or a bowl, and that will make things look so much more intentional and important and worth a second look. Vintage Dansk is on this list, and I have found multiple pieces of Dansk. It's a very well-known housewares company that debuted in, I believe it was, it's a Scandinavian design company, debuted in 1954, and I will oftentimes pick up Dansk when I find it out at the thrift store. I have found a domed cheese board, beautiful wood salad bowls, cocktail glasses, votives. So there's definitely a lot of Dansk out there. Their pieces are almost always signed, but it's very high quality. Some pieces are going to lean a little more mid-century modern, but I feel like they're clean and simple enough that they can really go in with anybody's decor. Wood furniture is on the list, and I am really excited about that. I know there's a lot of people out there painting wood furniture, and I understand that, and I think those pieces, for the most part, turn out really great, but I think there are sometimes you've got some beautiful wood and details, and if it's in good enough condition, just leave it as is. Wood furniture and all of those brown colors have made a big comeback in the last couple of years, and they can really add a very interesting look to an entryway, as a sideboard in your dining room, as a console table in a small hallway, or if you have a small entryway. So look for those wood pieces. They may need a little bit of work, but if you're up to it, you can really get a lot of look for your money, and it's really fun to explore the history of the piece. So when people come over to your house, you can tell them a little bit about your wood chest of drawers. Look for sideboards, side tables, nightstands, game tables. Little decorative stools are also really hot right now with decorative furniture. Hardcover books is next on the list, and I'm a big fan of sourcing books at the thrift stores. If you guys have followed me for a while, I love to find fantastic coffee table books. And there are 2 ways you can use those, or multiple ways you can use those in your home. They are great for bookshelf styling. It's a great way to add height if you need to add height to a piece. There are 2 ways to display them. If you have a nice dust jacket and those colors work for you, if you want to get that fine of a detail, making sure the cover is good, the dust jacket. But a lot of people will take the dust jacket off because they like the material of the weave of the outer part of the book, and the spine can also be very beautiful and accentuate some decorative objects you might have. So usually, it's a couple of dollars, maybe $6, $7, depends on your part of the country, but I do like to look for those. I typically will use them with the dust jacket, but I do really like how it looks. Just a kind of a softer look if you're going to remove the dust jacket and just use the woven fabric of the outside of the book can be so attractive and beautiful. And the other thing with the sourcing books for decor, you can find so many different topics and categories of themes that might appeal to you, maybe appeal to your clients. So whether someone is interested in cookbooks, travel, art, home decor, of course, I like to find those, sports, history, there's so many different topics, boating. You can find a coffee table book on a particular state, California, Utah, museums. So there's so many varieties out there, and it's really fun when you can find things that really connect to your personal taste. Vintage magazines is also noted in this article, and I have collected a few vintage magazines, I think at flea markets, but I have sourced those secondhand, and they are fashion magazines from the 1950s. And holiday magazine, and those are fun and colorful, and again can really add something for whatever vignette you might be styling. Next on the list is baskets. I think everybody's probably on board with baskets, maybe not. I know they can be maybe a little bit dirty or dusty, but if you can look beyond that, and there are ways you can clean those up. You can get one of those pre-moistened wipies to clean those. You can use compressed air, you can vacuum that out, or just get a little pledge on a dust cloth and try to wipe those out. But boy, the thrift stores are loaded with baskets. You can find all different kinds of sizes and colors and things that relate to your decor and your taste. And they just really add an interesting texture to most rooms. So I would say each room, in my opinion, can certainly handle some kind of a basket or woven detail. I think a basket is really easy to decorate with, and they can serve a purpose as well. A basket in a living room or in a guest room with a couple of blankets, and maybe some of those books that you picked up in the last mention. I meant some coffee table books. Your guests have a nice blanket, or they can look at something to read. The next item on the list is copper. As you guys know, I'm a huge copper fan, and a lot of you also, if you've been shopping in secondhand and paying attention and follow other people online, copper is really hot right now. I know I've been picking up copper whenever I find it, and it's consistently selling for me at my booth. And I also sold it really well online, I would say, in the last 2 years. So copper is really hot, and it especially, it's most of the time it's probably going to lean into something that you would use for decor in your kitchen, or you might have a beautiful decorative copper tea kettle on your stove. It's such a beautiful metal, especially if it has some brass details on it. So I really love it for decorating kitchen. If that is your style, you will oftentimes see people will have like a wrought iron bar with some hooks, and they'll hang their different copper-backed fry pans on the wall. And some people use those, some people just have it for decoration, but I do love copper. I think it's a beautiful element, and it's great great metal, and it's great I think it's fantastic to decorate with. So many choices. You can get different kinds of molds, copper trays, so lots and lots of copper ice buckets, lots of choices and options out there to add some copper to your home. Next item on this list is picture frames, and I give another big yes to that. You can find so many fantastic picture frames, much cheaper than what is available as a walk-in store option like Target or maybe Home Goods. I just feel like those stores are just kind of limited, so I think you're going to find a bigger variety and definitely a nicer quality frame at the thrift store. I have been picking those up for a long time. You could use them to frame a piece of art. Maybe you found at the thrift store that had a lousy frame on it. So, pick up something elsewhere at another thrift store to frame that art. You could, put a mirror in it. There's all kinds of sizes. Frames, great to source those at the thrift store. And now that I've finished with Martha's list of experts, I'm going to add my own top things that I think that I tell people go to the thrift store. My first item will be cocktail glasses and wine glasses. There's so many cocktail glasses out there and nice quality wine glasses. For a couple years, I was finding Riedel all over the place. I built an incredible collection. The cocktail glasses I've been collecting for years and years and years, since the 80s. Surprisingly, you can still find Georges Briard out there, Fred Press. You can find these at the thrift store. A little bit harder, but even your day-to-day glassware, I find beautiful crystal iced tea goblet, tall highball glasses for soda on ice or whatever. Cocktail glasses, wine glass, there's tons and tons at the thrift store. My next item is trays are a great thing to find at the thrift store. Very easy to find, and I love decorating with trays. You can find all kinds of different sizes. They're great for corralling things, making things look important. So I'm a huge fan of trays. And again, so many different varieties out there in the thrift store. The next item on my list is crystal. And I'm talking about crystal as a category. I just talked about crystal glassware, crystal votives, crystal bowls, crystal pedestal bowls, small crystal trays, crystal boxes, crystal pitchers. And all of these are really great to decorate with, especially if you're going for that old money Ralph Lauren look. You can, vases. I forgot about vases. That's something else. Tons and tons of crystal out there. And my friend and I find Waterford crystal all the time at Valley Value Village here in Van Nuys. She has picked up Baccarat crystal there. I have picked up Costa Boda, Orifers crystal. So it's definitely out there, and it's fun to go to the thrift store, buy a beautiful crystal vase, put some flowers in it, and take it to your friend as a hostess gift. Also candlesticks, I forgot. Candlesticks, lots of crystal candlesticks out there, good quality. Next on my list, boxes. I love decorative boxes. I love them for remotes, corralling things at your entryway to put your keys in, to hide all that kind of clutter, maybe the dog leash, whatever. Lots of different sizes, varieties. There are beautiful, beautiful boxes out there, and I think the thrift store is the best place to buy those. You're going to get the best price and you're going to get the most look for your money. Now, speaking of corralling things, the next thing on my list, I love small little catch-all, little trays. So I call these catchalls. I think they're great for taking jewelry off at night. Great to put a group together in one of the trays I just mentioned. Put a little group together that has some kind of a theme. They're a really fun gift. I love catchalls. There's so many different varieties and different patterns. And I also think ashtrays fall into the catch-all category. Sometimes I'll pick up something because I like the font on a particular item. I pick these up whether they're from Target or they're antique. I've picked them up from more high-end artists as well as, again, more sort of modest retailers like Target, and they're fun to decorate with. The next one on my list, brass. Brass has been selling for me really well for a long time online. I've been selling it in my booth. I do look for it at the thrift stores. It's not as plentiful as it used to be. Brass is a beautiful metal element that adds just a lot of character to any home, and you can get all kinds of things in brass. Brass-lidded boxes, brass vases, like brass wastebasket. Oh, animal figurines, of course, and people love those animal figurines. And finally, my last thing that I think is a great place for to source at the thrift store, in addition to Martha Stewart's experts, Victoria Shamley, she has a book, Big Thrift Energy. So she talks a lot about sourcing the weird things, and I am fully on board with that. The thrift store, if you're just looking for that sort of kooky statement piece, something oversized or some incredible colors or a kind of long forgotten artist, the thrift store is fantastic for finding those. I guess I would call them like the statement pieces, those unusual pieces that are fantastic for an entryway, the conversation piece kind of item. That could be a sculpture, it could be art, it could be a loud pillow, it could be an incredible tray, or something that's quirky and unusual. If you're, again, looking for the oddball thing and you don't want to spend a lot of money, or that statement piece for that entryway, I definitely think the thrift store is your best option. I hope you enjoyed this list of Martha Stewart's industry design insiders of items that they like to source at the thrift store, in addition to my items. So leave a comment below of what items you like best or what you always like to source at the thrift store that you think is a go-to item. I'll go to the thrift store for that. Again, leave a comment below. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing to my channel. So thank you so much for watching, and remember to always decorate and live stylishly. I will see you next time. Bye.